Hi, everyone. Carmen Didisco here. We are going step by step through the book, Sweeping the Country, Inventor Confidential. I have the author here, Mr. Warren Tuttle, and he's going to go through it, man. I got a lot of questions. We've been getting a lot of hits. Warren, how's the book selling?
It's doing great. It got off to a great start. Number one in product development and design. Overwhelming number of 5-star reviews so far. People I don't even know. It's really exciting. It's really exciting.
That is so crazy. I mean, just a little while ago, I remember talking to you about writing a book, and now you have. It's the bestseller, number one seller on Amazon.
I don't want to make too much. I didn't write the book to be a big seller, or I didn't write it to be or any of that. I wrote it to try to explain to people, even if it's one person that reads it cover to cover, of really what they need to watch out for on a number of different fronts. But it's fun to get out. I'm learning a lot on the whole matrix of how Amazon reviews work. I'm a novice in that area. So I just like everything in my life, I've learned how to figure it out and do it. And it's been an interesting bucket list type experience. It's been fun.
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, it's really cool. Some of the questions that I even been fielding from some of the listeners and readers of your book is, you talk a lot about prototypes, and I get a lot of people that call me. They want to do manufacturing, they want to try to license, and they're wondering, do I need a prototype? I don't need a prototype. And maybe we can go through that a little bit.
Well, you know what? I'm glad we're talking about that. So ideas versus prototypes and really developing your product. I'm just going to say right up front, I am on the old school, develop your product properly side. Okay.
I agree.
Now there's different camps. There's other people that pitch ideas that, you can take ideas. I have been on the receiving end for 15 years now, running open innovation programs, ideas. Okay. None of them, no idea has yet to make it through. And I've done 120 licensing agreements and, generated a lot of business. Now, could it happen? Yeah, it's possible. Maybe other certain industries are more, readily acceptable of that. But in my areas of hardware, power tools, even in direct response CV, although there's probably different approaches to that, but definitely in housewares, building the prototype, improving function has been a really important process of moving forward. Sending in an idea, I get them all the time. And if they're not ready, even if I like the idea, my next question to them as you build a prototype, does it function? Because if I said on other shows, we don't want to find out, 6 months down the road that we can't build the thing, right? So it's a debate, and you and I can talk about it a little bit more. But the other thing is ideas. If somehow they were to sneak through, you're not getting this higher royalty rate. You're just not. Okay, I'm telling you. And companies don't like to be in a position where your product doesn't have IP, and then suddenly, or a lot of companies, I should say, and then suddenly somebody else can come along, and if there's no intellectual property, can copy the product, and now they're paying a royalty rate, and they're the higher cost basis. These are all things that they don't want to have. So if you come in with either a design patent, which isn't quite a utility patent, or you come in with just an idea that doesn't have protection, and they have to file for you, they're gonna lower your rate. And if they don't go do it at all and just speed the market, they're paying you less because they understand that at some point somebody's going to come in and they have to make those costs very, very defendable to competition. So I can tell you from the inside, the idea concept, and and I know people say, well, I sent in an idea once, and the odds are so long on it that it's almost misleading. And that's why I speak out on the subject.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you pointed like that, because you're not saying that it can't happen, because it can happen. But in the long run, that's what I have noticed too. Even on me on the manufacturing side, it is very tough for me to even go towards that manufacturing if the client hasn't really proved the concept, because now they're kind of putting it on me to make their product without proving that it actually worked. And I can tell everyone there's going to be some tweaks, some changes. And I think that's what you're saying is a lot of those companies know that if we don't have a prototype, then they're going to license something that really hasn't been proven to function.
Well, listen, first of all, at Tektronix Industry, the power tool and hardware company that I ran for years, they won't even look at a product. They wouldn't even look at a product unless there's a video of a functioning prototype. That's period. Okay. Period. Okay. So they want to know that it functions and works, and that the inventors have skin in the game and so forth. At Lifetime Brands, occasionally I might see an idea, but when we discuss it internally, the next question is, let's get a prototype. And then the inventor has to stop and build one. And sometimes that slows the whole process and momentum down. but it's, or, forget it. If they don't have one, then we're moving on to the next thing. They deal with a lot of products. So now, mind you, Carmen, I'm not saying build a prototype for every idea you have. I mean, I saw that when, people were saying, well, that would go broke. Okay, well, guess what? You don't want to do that. What I'm saying is that you have to vet your ideas and you have to funnel them down into the ones at least you perceive as winners. I remember when I was first on the job 15 years ago at Lifetime Brands as their Open Innovation Director, and that's what I am, the Open Innovation Director. I got 100 ideas from an inventor out in Oregon. He just sent a box to me. I spent all weekend going through them. And I realized after that, forget it. That's not, my job is not to be your partner and develop the product for you. But watch your money, watch your shekels. Don't get out too far in front of the product. But when you get that idea that you've vetted, you've researched, now you think you're onto something, then you need to develop it cost effectively, focus on that, work out your mechanics, because those mechanics become the basis for your claims, and that becomes the basis for your intellectual property. So there's a format that I describe at length in the book. And if you're going to just skip the process and say, I'm just a great mind, I'm a person with a lot of great ideas, like I'm the only person in America that has it, you're going to be one out of a lot. And you're going to have to be extremely lucky, like winning the lottery, okay? And you're going to miss out, on that sometimes on the ability to advance. So don't be surprised, by the way, when your odds are long and you come back with a no.
And we can talk about this part of it later. You kind of allude that in your book to where even Kickstarter requires at least a functioning prototype or product that has to function and has to work. Some of the online funding systems need that now because of things like The Cool is Cooler. You kind of talk about that in the book.
Well, you can't film it. A lot of people want to send in drawings, which, I'll take a look, or maybe even the patent filing with drawings. Or now the latest thing is, I got into a bit of an argument last week with someone on CADs. I guess that's virtual. They described it as virtual products. I said, so you're talking about CADs? I mean, I look at CADs all the time. They're very clever. They're wonderful. They have wonderful colors, things. But they don't prove that they function. And that's the next question. Do you build it? Does it actually work? And then can you produce it on a mass level? So these are all things. And by the way, in the book, I also even get more sophisticated in the TRIZ and Scamper, which are sophisticated, corporate programs that were developed around the world to scientifically advance the product development process that are probably beyond most inventors, but are important too. So listen, if you have ideas, that's wonderful. I talk to a lot of people with ideas. I try to be helpful, but I'm old school on this side. I'll give the idea side to someone else and let them argue that one. I'm going to argue how to do it properly and correctly. At the same time, live within yourself, live within your means, and take steps one step at a time. But the amount of effort, time, and resources that you put into that you put into going to trade shows, that you could, the old school things to vet the marketplace, I think at the end of the day, that's the way you should spend your money.
Yeah. Agree, Warren. Mr. Warren Tuttle says, build a prototype. That's what I agree with, no doubt about it. Thank you so much, Warren. Inventor Confidential. Buy it on Amazon, inventorconfidential.com, and we will catch you next time. You all take care.